John Emberson, welcome back to the program. What's the program?
Hey-o.
Existence.
What's going on? What's going on, peeps?
Say hello to all those loyal fans. They keep cheering you on. That's why I keep bringing you back.
It's like, have you ever seen that one picture where it's like, when it's the few people that like your post that are consistent, and it's like a DJ, and he's like going like this, and there's like two people, and they're like, woo! Like in the crowd. Like, yeah, that's how I feel.
I know. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Those loyal. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Those are the ones that are worth it, though, man. If we're gonna be honest, though.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I those people are.
Shouts out to Dorsey out there. We know that she's been the listener from day one.
No,
so.
I think at this point she stopped listening. My mom.
Well, she hears it in the background. That's still part of it.
Dorsey's mom listens. Shout out to Dorsey's mom. She listens. And
that's awesome. My mom listens.
Yeah.
I didn't know this until she started talking to me, and I was like, oh, that's a weird.
Shout out to Dawn out there, California.
Love you, Mom. It's not weird. I love you.
I love you too, Mom, if you're listening. My mom, if you're listening to this. So today, John, we're talking about doubt. Doubt, D-O-U-B-T.
Are you sure you want to be applying to these?
No, John. No, I never said I was like, I got spell check, my guy. No, dude, I think that is a thing, though. I mean, like, my spelling is actually, I mean, I can spell, but you don't realize how bad you get at spelling when you just have autocorrect and you're just texting, mainly the writing you're doing is like.
But I think that's most people nowadays. Like, I think we're so used to it now that it's like when you start like journaling or like writing something, you're like, God dang, I don't remember anything.
When you literally have to write on paper, I'm like, what is?
How do you spell and?
Yeah.
A-N-T-E.
It is with an I, right?
And.
Yeah. Where does the dot go? No, yeah, anyways, what are we talking about? Doubt.
I don't know.
Don't make me spell again. Yeah. So, John, what have you been doubting?
My life, my existence. I've been doubting going on into this podcast every week.
Yeah, I've been doubting having you on.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, this is actually. I feel like this. Doubt has been very big in this part of my life right now. This is a pivotal part. It's a new chapter of my life right now. So there's been a lot of doubts for sure. I think the biggest one that I've had, well, there's a couple. Obviously, the relationship, but I don't really want to talk about that on here. But anyways, the biggest one right now for me that's like very like overwhelming was the doubt, and you know this is like my new job opportunity because it's scary to me. It's scary because it's like here I have one skill set that I've always favored towards, and I know now that it's something that I could take and use for the rest of my life. Like I know that. But like there's on top of that, there's like been a doubt too where it's like, well, if I wasn't doing this, what else would it be? And like I have kind of that opportunity right now, but it's also doubling on the doubt where I'm just like, okay, but now I'm investing my time into something that I'm kind of just like going into blindly. So like if it doesn't work out, I'm like, okay, I just wasted, let's say a year when I could have been working and like sharpening the skill sets I already have. So like that's a huge doubt for me right now is like taking this chance of doing this like new opportunity that isn't necessarily the skills I already have and like trying to like see if it's going to work for me, which is great. I'm happy about what I'm doing, but like there's been a lot of doubt if this is something that I like actually should be doing because like I said, there's always in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, well, during all of this, if it doesn't work out this entire time, I could have just been sharpening my skills that I've already had. You know?
So for a little bit of context, you had an opportunity to just go back to what you normally do, like working on cars and stuff. And then you recently had an opportunity at the job you just kind of, the job you were working at to kind of excel and advance within that field. and so you decided to stick with the job that you felt like you could gain maybe a new skill set with, and gain kind of more of a more professional opportunity for you. So, you know, I mean, it's just scary because you have one opportunity where you know you're comfortable in it. You know what I mean? It's like, I know I could fall back on that if I wanted to. You know, and now you said no to that. Like, you explicitly said, no, I actually want to try something that I'm not comfortable in, that I don't necessarily have the backing to propel myself into, but you're still doing it anyways because you know it'll further you. And I think that's like the thing is like I think it's just it depends on the person, but it's so, I mean, I think it depends I think it's kind of a universal thing, is like when you have like when you know what you can fall back on, you have like the skill sets you have, you have the experience that you've done before. But when you see a new opportunity that comes up, it's so easy to think like should I do that? Should I do that? Because if I don't, you kind of like are left in this sort of space where you're not really sure if falling back on what you know is the best thing for you, or pursuing something else would be the best thing for you. And I think it just takes doing it. But it can be scary for a lot of reasons to take that leap. And once you do, though, I think it always pays dividends, because when you force yourself to be put into a new situation, it always is one of those things where, like, even if it didn't work out the way you wanted to, or the way you expected, you can gain something from that experience.
Yeah, it's true. I think that, like, that's the thing, is like the thing that hits me the hardest when it comes to like doubting something or like following through with something is like when I talk to just people that are like already well into their careers, or maybe even retired, and they're like, oh, well, if I did it differently, if I was your age, I'd do it like this. And it's like, I don't want that for myself. Like, I don't want to be where it's like, oh yeah, like I never took the chance. Like, I had 2 different opportunities and I just went with the one that I've been doing forever. And I always thought, what if I did that other thing? But then, also in the same time is like, I don't want to be that person where it's like, oh, I wasted my time, like putting my efforts into something when it like never really panned out in my life, like at some point either, like, and like you bring up a good point. It's like, I think you can gain something from anything, and like, and I think that's always worth it in the end. Like, in my head, it's like I feel like it's young enough. I'm like young enough in my life right now where I can take the like kind of crazy opportunities, or like the different chances, because it's like, okay, like I'm not like so far into my life where I have like a family and like a wife that I have to rely on, or like that rely on me, or I rely on them. And like I have to, and like if I have to reset, like it takes a lot more, like it's a lot harder, versus like now it's like, okay, I could just like go back to like what I'm already comfortable with, like not a problem,
Yeah.
So like this is the time to do those things. But like there is the still doubt, because like I said, it's like the thing that I doubt about it is like if I go into some, and this is not necessarily a like job, this just goes into anything. This is just like how my mind works, is like if I commit to something that is like different from like what I would normally choose, if that makes sense. Like, I worry that the time that I'm taking up to do that thing, if it doesn't pan out, like I said, if it doesn't work out the way I wanted it to, or like, I like do something and it's like at the end of that experience, I'm just like, okay, like, I did it, but like it's not what I want to do or whatever. Like in that time, like I would be scared that I like could have used it for like the betterment of the thing that I originally wanted, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that's what scares me. That's what makes me doubt things. Is utilizing that time correctly. Like what is the correct answer? What is the right choice? What is the right opportunity?
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways what offers me comfort, and I want to hear what you would say offers you comfort, but for me it's not even only like the realization, it's the knowing that whatever route I choose, that route will give me the experience I need. You know what I mean? It's like that, whatever route I took and where I'm going to take in the future that's the one I was supposed to be on. I wasn't supposed to go to that other route. That just wasn't it. You know what I mean? It's like trusting the process of it. And that, I would say, is the number one, for me personally, is the number one single most important factor in when pushing past doubt, is like realizing, okay, like, even if this doesn't go the way I wanted it, even if this is not, this all falls apart in front of me, and I'm left with nothing that I expected, it's okay, because that was what I was supposed to do, and I'm gonna learn from it. And as long as you have that mindset, as long as you can keep that in the back of your head, like, I'm gonna learn from this, I'm gonna take that experience and then move forward with it, because now I know, then that can give you the confidence, at least it does for me, to work through the doubt that I have. And it's hard to remember that sometimes, because it's not necessarily the most comforting thing in the moment, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I get it, the experience, but like, I'm really trying to do something that hopefully will pay off, and if it just doesn't, like, that's not gonna be very fun, you know what I mean? And it's I wouldn't say it's the most comforting thing, but I think it's the thing that pushes me past that kind of threshold of like, will I continue doing this? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to continue doing this, because I at least know that that's the right path for me, and whatever path I'm on is the right one. You know what I mean? So like, what would you say is the kind of mindset? Like, how do you push past the doubt?
No, I think I can relate to you on that. It's like, what I first will say about it is the way I look at it is, it has to be the mindset you have going about it. Because like I said, I think I constantly compare myself to, people that I talk to that are retired or like well into their careers, where they're like, that 4 years of my life where I went to college, like, I shouldn't have done that. I should have went directly into the trade. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, like, maybe I can learn something from this, And it's like, even then, it's like you brought up it's like, well, in the moment it feels uncomfortable, or like you feel like you're like regretting something or something like that. But like, that's the thing, is like, you can have the mindset where you're well into your retirement age and you're still regretting those chances or whatever. But I think it's the mindset. So what helps me is like having the mindset of like, you can always take something out of it. And I'm sure that like, even for those people, they're like, oh, I regret the 4 years that I went to school. It's like, yeah, but you got your degree, like, and maybe you never, ever utilize that degree. But like, number one, you learned something. You had to have learned something within those 4 years. And number two is like, if something really hit the fan in your life, which, maybe it didn't, but if it did, you had that degree to like rely on or something, So there are things you can bring from it, And I think that's what helps me, is like, I don't think I'll ever look back and it's like, even if I did, let's say, this job opportunity, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, that ended up just not really working out for me. Well, hey, I got to learn some like leadership skills, or like I got to learn like work trade through trades that I've never even done before, and I know like a little bit about certain sections now. Like that I will always be able to hold on to that. And if I didn't take the opportunity, I would have never known that stuff. You know, so like, of course, I think the key factor with like, whenever you're going through like doubts of like opportunities that present themselves, and you're doubting yourself, like, by taking the time to like put your efforts into something, the way that pushes through those types of like instances is like knowing that you're always going to gain something from your experience, whether it's good or bad. You're going to realize like, hey, this is just not for me, but hey, I tried it. Like, if I just continued down the same line of doing this one thing and never veered away from it, I would never know if I would excel in something else. I would never know. But if you did do it, you're like, okay, now I know. Like, I've gained the experience of learning that this doesn't work for me, or maybe I gained some type of skill set that is actually going to better me in another field, and that's what you're gaining from it. And that's something that you shouldn't be doubting.
Yeah. No, totally. I think just being able to say you tried is a huge factor as well. And at least for me, it's what offers me comfort. And I think that's like kind of the second piece to it, is like just being confident in your ability to at least try, because most people don't try. Most people, they give up before they actually pursue what they think might give them a better opportunity. You know what I mean? Because you can
Right.
you can be so in your head to where that 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 you could be the person that does it. You know what I mean? You could possess the qualities and intelligence and the kind of personality or whatever it is to be able to like become the person that you want to become, but your mindset will hold you back. And I think that's such a huge factor, because you know what I mean? Like if you're the person who holds yourself back, you're self-selecting yourself out of everything you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't do it because this, and you know, it's not going to work out because of this reason, and you know, there's no way this would ever work out because of whatever. And you can you know, you might be right, but you don't know, because you actually don't know. You actually have zero clue, because you haven't yet tried to do it. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
that, I think, it is one of the most comforting things for me, because at least I know, you know, maybe I can focus on like, yeah, it's going to work out either way because I'm going to gain something from it. But at the same time, what can give me comfort is like, at least I tried. You know what I mean? I was the person that didn't just ruminate on it so much, where I just thought about, you know, it was just I self-selected myself out of whatever was going to be, might have been an opportunity for me. And I'm the one who actually said, you know what, like, maybe you're right, but I pushed through it, and then I still did it anyways. And now I am confident because I know what happened. You know what I mean? And it might not look the way you wanted it to go, but you can hold that confidence that you're the person that actually tries to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would say like a lot of it too is like the thing that like I'm curious to like how you think about this is like, oh, I think that like doubt is actually a very like important thing too, because if you go through your life and you're doubting everything, you're going to be scrambling from like the next thing to the other. And I think that there's a good balance of like you should have the doubts about things, but you should also commit to like certain opportunities that maybe you just need to like really spend some time through in order for you to see the achievements or the successes of your, you know, of your time. And like the doubts are going to come throughout all of that. You just have to listen to which ones are important and which ones are like, okay, well, what exactly am I doubting? Am I doubting like this entire journey? Am I doubting myself, or am I doubting this one aspect? Like, oh, okay, well, you know, this journey is working, but like I am doubting this one thing because I don't like when this happens to me, I'm not really that happy. And it's like, okay, well, how can you adjust that one thing? Like, just because you're doubting that one thing doesn't mean you need to change the in complete opposite direction. You know, maybe there is times in your life that you are doubting everything that you're doing, and maybe that is a good pivotal moment for you to like really try something else. And like, it's because of those doubts, which is what makes you realize where you're at in life, you know? So those are important. So like, you know, like what would you say? Like, do you think that like doubts, those types of doubts are just as important as the like the little ones? Like, do you think that like what's the role of doubts that play in your head? Like how do you see them as being beneficial to like your life?
Yeah. No, that's a very good question. It's a very good point. I think you're talking about our relationship to doubt becomes like how confident we are in the things that we're doing now. So the way I kind of think about it is like, it's very natural to doubt things. It's very natural because everyone's doubting something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing, I can't point to you a time in my life that I've never doubted at least some aspect of it. Even when I was like, you know what I mean? It's like, I knew I was on the right track, and like, I still feel that, but But I think this is a very important point, is that, yeah, it's okay to doubt things. That's a natural emotion and a natural thought to have and to feel, you know what I mean? But when you know, I think when you know that what you're doing right now, and when you can be confident in what you're pursuing, I think that lessens the doubt a significant amount. And I'm not saying it's always easy to like be confident in what you're pursuing, but if you find like, hey, yeah, I know there's a lot of doubts in this, but I am 100% sure like that this is the route I need to be on. This is the route that is giving me giving me fulfillment. This is giving me creativity. This is giving me the direction. This is giving me the guidance that I need to be on. You know, like this what I'm doing right now is giving me this. My doubts become less significant, and I'm able to like push through them easier. But sometimes we're not always able to like be the confident person we are, because, you know, for whatever reason, we don't know. We feel like maybe this isn't the right path. I don't know. And within those situations, I think it's a much harder task to kind of settle those doubts. I would like to know how you think about settling those types of doubts when you're not on the when you don't know that you're on the path you're supposed to be on, or when you can't realize it for yourself.
I think that like it's really much of being in tune with yourself, like really understanding how you're feeling about certain situations, because like you said it best, it's like you're gonna have doubts about literally everything in your life. I mean, at any point in time, all the time, you know, and it's how you process those doubts. Like, is it something that's detrimental? You know, like I said, I think it goes back to like how we gauging our doubts about things. Is it a small doubt? Is it a huge doubt? Are you doubting your entire life? Are you doubting a job? Are you doubting a relationship? Are you doubting walking, running? Like, you know, it goes into everything, and it's like I think it's how you face those. Like, if it's something that's like, it can be healthy because it can show you like, hey, like you're doubting this thing because like, you know, it's forcing you to realize like, oh, I'm not happy where I'm at right now. I'm not like the settlement of this doubt for me is like not enough. Like I need to do something else. I need to change it, and without having the doubts against that, you would just continue going into it blindly. So I think it's up to us personally to like analyze what these doubts are and like really think them through. And like I'm okay with settling certain doubts that I have, of like, okay, maybe it's like a small thing that I'm not uncomfortable with, but like if I can settle with that and it gets me through to the next stage of like maybe being more successful or learning something or something, like I get something out of it, then I'm okay with settling those doubts, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think it's all about, I think you really have to be in tune with yourself with that. Cause I think if you're a person that just doesn't take any chances on anything, that I think you just have so many doubts in your life and you listen to all of them. And I think that's not good. Like you should be able to settle with some doubts and others not so much, you know? Like I think, and that takes being in tune with like how you're really feeling about things, like where you are in life, like how you're processing things, what are the opportunities that you're taking, and all of that usually gets brought up within the doubts of your life, of like, okay, why am I thinking about this all the time now? Like there's something to this. I need to listen to this. And how you listen to it, how you go about it is going to help you through your journey of like picking the right decision.
Yeah, no, that's really good. To answer like to further like answer the original question you had, like how you use doubt as a positive thing. I completely agree that you use it as a guide. You're like, why am I doubting this thing? It's fine to doubt the thing. It's fine to doubt whatever you doubt, but why are you doubting it? And that doubt leads you on different directions that are the right path for you to go on. And as long as you could trust the path, as long as you could trust that journey, which it goes back to like our original what we talked about in the beginning was like just trusting the process of it, trusting wherever you're ending up is whatever you're doing right now is the route you're supposed to be on, and we have to find the beauty within that. We have to find like the comfort within that, which is a big thing to do, and that's a whole process. But as we continue to like realize that process more and more, we had to be led by the doubts in order to reaffirm ourselves in what we need to be doing, and in order to reflect in the way that we should be reflecting on what we may or may not be certain about in our life. And I think that is like such a powerful thing when you think about it like that. Like, you're right. Like, I am doubting this thing, whatever it is you're doing. You know what I mean? And like, I'll just say it, like for me, like I'm applying to really selective schools right now. So like in the US, so like, applying to like Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Brown, all these like really selective schools, that a lot of people are applying to simultaneously, like in the same way. That's just the process for me. But like when I think about it on a large term, it's like, why do I doubt these things? Why do I doubt that I could do it? Because the process is one of being reaffirmed that this is what I need to be doing, for whatever reason, what I mean? And it's not just this specific instance, which I doubt. It's like, there's a lot of things to doubt, but when you look at it, when I look internally in my own mind, it's like, why am I so dead set on doing this at 26 when I could be doing a lot of other things? Is because I've come to enough self-reflection in order to like be confident in the way that I am now about it, that the doubts, even though they are there, they are guiding me in a way that will be ultimately, hopefully, where I need to end up. And I know that's where I'm supposed to be. I know right now that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And because I am so confident in that, because I've had the experience before in order to become the person I am today, it's like banking on the experience before in order for you to like become more confident in the things you do later. You know what I mean?
Right. I think you said it perfectly. It's like, I think it's in layman's terms, it's actually a great tool for if you know how to process the doubts in your life. It's an incredible tool that helps you realize the path that you're taking is the correct one. Like you said, it's like you're going to have doubts through whatever journey, and it could be, let's say, just one specific journey in your life, and you're going to have certain doubts between those. And it's like those are the milestones that make you realize, they put everything in perspective of why you're doing all these things. Because if you didn't have any doubts through things, which is you can always also argue that's a good thing to have too, but like, for the most part, like, we're going to have doubts about most of everything. Even if you're like very confident on one aspect in your life, is like, it's a great reminder of like, hey, why am I doing this? Where did I start? Like, how did I start doing this? Why am I still doing this? What's the goal I'm trying to achieve here? And it's like, I think because as soon as those doubts become in your head, it like brings up everything else of the reasoning why you're doing all this stuff, which actually, if you process it correctly, it can help you through that journey. It's like, it helps you put everything in perspective and like, oh wow, this is like really far-fetched. Like, I'm really like, putting myself out there. This is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm doubting all of this. And it's like, oh, well, I'm also like very proud of myself that I'm like putting myself out there and like giving it a shot. Like, I want to do this. I feel good about this. And like it's a lot of work, and there's maybe not necessarily a reward out of it, but like, I feel good about doing it. And that starts with having doubts about things. I think it's a good skill that happens in your life, and if you process it correctly, it can further the opportunities that you're taking in life.
Totally. I mean, yeah, it's to linger on that point, like if you process it correctly, because there's ways to process it that's not healthy, you know what I mean? And so like,
yeah, definitely.
If we use doubt if we think of doubt as in an unhealthy way, it could be extremely detrimental because it inhibits you from doing anything. And I for whatever reason, I've never let the doubt stop me. You know what I mean? But But I'm sure like I can think of ways in which, like regardless of like a specific circumstance, there are ways in which doubt can really be a detriment for you if you cannot handle it properly. And I think that's it's important to kind of think about it in that way, because when we let doubts like stop us, especially when we're in the middle of trying to pursue something, it's like it's like extremely disheartening. But it doesn't always have to be that way. I mean, and I think that's like what we can talk about best is like how do we handle doubt in a way that will bring us the best possible experience for ourselves and the best possible like fulfillment for ourselves now and later on, because it can be utilized like anything. If you utilize it correctly, it can be extremely useful.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a trait that is dead neutral. Like you can use it for the better of your life, and you can do it for the worst of your life too. Like I said, if you're a person that's doubting everything in your life and you follow through with all those doubts, like you're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that because I wasn't sure about it, and like I wasn't sure about this, I wasn't sure about this, and like I just never took any chances. It's like, okay, like you're not utilizing this thing that you have in life, like you could use for the betterment of whatever you're doing with yourself. And I think that's what's kind of interesting about having doubts is like you really can really take it so many different ways. Like and I this goes back to just how we're wired. Like why do we process things certain ways than others? But I think it could be an incredibly healthy tool. It is an incredibly healthy tool if you perceive it that way. I think it's really important that you perceive it that way, because if you don't perceive it that way, it can back you out of a lot of opportunities that you'll never take in your life. And I think that's not a good thing. Yeah. Not a good thing at all.
No. So I actually have I have a question for you. How do you deal with doubt? Okay, so everything can be out of our control. I mean, it's possible, but how do you deal with stuff that's blatantly out of our control? Like when you're doubting something it's not necessarily up to you fully. When it's like something going on in your life where there's somebody that may or may not hold like the answer to what they're the deciding factor. It's not necessarily you. You know what I mean? And I think that's something I think about a lot with what I'm going through right now. So like, how do you? I mean, I'm going to do everything I possibly can in order to like set myself up the best way I can. But ultimately, it's not me who is the sole arbiter of my future. So it's like, how do you deal with that sort of doubt?
I think the way that I look at it is it is up to you, because like you're still putting yourself into that situation of like whether it's someone else that you're relying on, or like something that you're relying on, and it's the decision that they're making. But like I think the way that I have to look at it is I'm putting myself into that situation. And if I'm confident that I'm putting myself into that situation for the betterment of something, if I'm trying to achieve some skill set or anything, if the way that I look at it is if I put myself into that situation, anything else that comes of it was based off of my decision. So I think that it's like, as long as I stay confident in the ways that I accepted some type of condition or some type of lifestyle in my life, I have to be confident that anything else that comes of it is just a byproduct of my own decision. I think it's important to realize. Is so even if it's out of your control, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always out of your control. That's something that you put yourself into. So I think you have to understand that you put yourself in that situation for a reason. And most of the people know, like, whatever situation you're like, oh, well, I didn't know this was going to happen. It's like, yeah, but you can kind of like argue that like going into anything, whether it's a big opportunity or a small opportunity, you kind of wrap your head around what might happen, and I think that's what you're accepting. So even if you're putting if you're put into a situation that's not necessarily up to you, and you're doubting, and they're doubting the entire process of like, oh, I don't really think this person's gonna make it. Like if you worked at a job or whatever, and they're like, that's not necessarily up to you. You're gonna give it your all, but like that's what I'm confident in. Like I put myself in that position thinking that I'm gonna do my best, and if the other person doesn't like it or the other thing doesn't like it, then like I can say confidently at the end of all of it that I did my best and I did it because I wanted to do it.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally, totally. In a way, everything is out of our control. You know what I mean? And so
I know.
it's like you all you can do is the best you can. Like that's all you can do. You can control what you can control, or what you think you control, and that's it.
Yeah, I think you can control.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Like that's everything you can do. And and I think this also kind of leads into a point, which fuels me as well, which is we only got one shot at it. We only have one life.
Yeah.
Where literally we don't have anything. We don't know what else exists beyond this, right. Whatever this is. And so that has to be, like, for me, it is such an incredible motivator, which is like, that's everything. What's happening right now at this moment that these words impinge on your ears, like that is everything. This is everything we have. And we have to try every day to remind ourselves of that in order to continue pushing forward on the things that we actually want to do, because this is the only thing that there is. This is everything. And so if we don't do it now, there is no future. If it's you know what I mean? Like the future that exists is only another present moment where we're just constantly trying to pursue what we want to do. And if we let it go, like we have, God knows when we'll die, you know what I mean? We could walk out the street tomorrow, but if I walk out the street tomorrow, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in a way that I know I can comfortably say I did everything in my power to make it work and to pursue what I wanted to do, and to do it to the best of my ability in a way that would bring me the most fulfillment. And if if it doesn't work out the way that I expect it to in my head, which it almost never does, then that's fine, because I know at least I tried, and I remain confident in that fact.
Yeah. I think I mean, exactly what you're talking about is like really not to linger on things, like you're going to get to any point in your life because of some reasoning behind why you're getting to certain stages of your life. And it's like, it's important that if those don't pan out, which is 99% of the time in our lives, things don't pan out. They just don't. It's not what we expected from day to day. Is like, don't linger on these things. Don't, like if you spend your entire life based off of the fact that you got fired at a certain job or someone broke up with you and you just like cannot get over that fact, you're being stagnant. You're not taking the opportunities that are right in front of you. It's like you really can't linger on the doubts that you have in your life that are just going to prevent you from further opportunities. Like you have to move on. And I think that goes back into what we're saying is like having the mindset of like, take something from it. If it didn't work the way that you thought it was going to, which you should have that mindset going into it. You're like, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to move on. And as soon as that happens, as soon as like the thing that you've been trying for doesn't pan out, hey, good, like best of luck. Like glad that you did it. Like, you put a lot of effort into it. Everybody sees that. Like you're proud of yourself for doing it. Move on. Do something else. Maybe that's something that maybe you had to go through that experience in order for you to realize, oh, maybe this isn't what I want to do. Or maybe you go through that experience and you're like, oh, well, I want to do that again, but in like a different way, or for something else, or for someone else, And it's like, I think that you can always gain something from that. And it's like, move on to that next step. Don't stay there and linger on the fact that you didn't achieve what you were like thought and what you predicted was going to happen. That's always going to backfire in the end.
No, totally. I completely agree. It's just, it never goes the way it planned. I remember like, this is a lesson that I learned in the Marine Corps when we would do flight up, our flight briefs before any flight. We would have like, all the air crew would gather in a room and we'd have like the plan, it's like, we're going to fly here. We're going to, these are the these are the other aircraft that are going to be in our airspace. This is our target. Like this is what it is, or like whatever the plan is. And then every single, it's like when I was going through like the training and when I did a lot of, especially when I was more junior in the Marine Corps, it was always like, this is the plan, but remember, it always goes to shit. This is not final because it will. Yeah. I remember a specific instructor of mine was like, this, you'll have the plan, but every single flight you go on, it's not going to go according to plan. It just won't. And that's fine because that's the ability to adapt is like incredibly important. That's a huge factor to be able to be confident in your ability to adapt to the changing situation. Because if you're not able to adapt, you're just stuck trying to fix what's broken. And it's like, it's fine. Let go of the brokenness of it. And I'm not saying like, forget about it. Just use it as the next thing use it as a piece of the puzzle to like build onto the next thing you're trying to do in order to figure out what the next best plan of attack is. It's not just continue trying to like piece together this broken thing that you will never be able to piece back together. Like use it as an experience in order to continue moving forward. And that's huge, because if we can't be confident in our ability to adapt to things, then I think we kind of just get stuck. We get stuck trying to fix whatever is not going to be able to be fixed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I agree. I don't know. I it's just funny because I feel like there's so many doubts that happen in your life where it's like also at the same time it's like exhausting too, because it's like I think that it's good to like I feel confident enough to where like I can adapt to things too, which I think is an important role to fill, but it's also like, I have to admit, like, it's exhausting just having doubts about everything all the goddamn time, It's like, sometimes I wish I could just shut it off, Because it's like, also, like, I don't know, I think maybe it's me getting older. I'm curious to your thoughts on it, is, like, I'm getting to the point in my life where, like, I want the simplicity of things. Like, and I want the, like, simpleness of, like, just, like, staying put with something, like really follow through with it, like through the worst of it, like even if it's terrible, like I'm like just following through with things, and it's like, and I think the whole reason I'm bringing this up is like there's so many doubts that happen through all of that it gets exhausting, and it's like I'm just tired of it. I'm just like done. Like it's just like I don't want to listen to those things anymore. Like it's important too. Like I completely agree, but it's also, I think there's as I get older, it's almost like they don't become so important to me anymore. It's just like I just like okay, yeah, of course I have doubts about that, but like I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing. Like I just like I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing because I feel like it's right, Like even if I'm like, okay, well today was really shitty, or like today sucked, and like I feel crappy, and it's like, yeah, but tomorrow I'm probably gonna feel fine, know. And it's like I'm just sick of like obviously you just have to go the wave of things, but I think with the point I'm bringing up is like doubts in your life can be exhausting, like because they're just nonstop. It's just like an bombardment through your brain all the time of like everything you're doing in your life, like. But then it's the thing too is like how silly is that? Because it's like, who are you impressing? It's literally your life. Like just like why you have to have doubts about everything? Like it's just you're living it to the best of your ability. You're going through life how you see fit, and like that's all you can you literally cannot ask anything more of yourself. So why do you have to doubt things all the time?
Oh man, doubt, huh?
Yeah. It's a little overwhelming sometimes.
I
feel like that was my last rant that we were just talking about. I was like, it's like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, man, I just get bombarded by doubts all the time, every single second of my life. And it's exhausting. It's tiring. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think it's what you choose to listen to. I think that's, as I get older, that's what I'm learning is like, what am I choosing to listen to that's important, that will impact my life forever? It's like these small little doubts. Like I'm just not I'm not naive enough to like be really focusing on these things. Like I want to put them to the side because it's like in the long run they really don't mean anything, you know? They really don't, you know?
Yeah, and I think a huge factor that is like just being confident, kind of what I touched on earlier, is just being confident in the experiences that you've gone through before when you have doubted something and then it's worked out and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like
That's true.
you're right. I was in I seriously doubted that. Like I don't know. I didn't know how I got, but I did, and I made it through, and I know I'm a better person because of it, and it worked out. And it worked out in a way in which I know it was good for me, and so like whatever
Right.
I do now is like it's just continually. And once you have enough of those experiences, and you go through like big experiences, like or small
Yeah.
experiences, and you have it behind you, you're able to
Yeah.
use that as just as more as fodder for whatever else you're doubting now. Is like you're like, oh, I can use my experience in the way that gives me confidence in order to proceed, and that's, I think that's huge. I think that for me is like one of the big
Yeah.
things too, is just being able to like look at it, take a step back and be like, you're right, like I've doubted things before and
Yeah.
I've made it through, and I've come out the other side successfully. Why can't that
Yeah.
happen again? You know what I mean?
Right. I'm curious to like what how you think about this, but like the way I feel like I'm still at the point in my life where like I'm having doubts of things that I've had doubts about
Mm.
before, multiple times before, and I've been through the experiences where like, oh no, I'm gonna be okay, like I'm gonna be fine, and like I have gone through those things, and I still to this day still have those doubts. And it's like, do you think as you get older those will ever go away, or like do you think that there's something that happens like as you get older and you go through like multiple experiences that when those like certain situation comes up, those start coming up again as you get older and you're well experienced with those things, like do they even, or can you even consider them doubts anymore? Is it something that you're ever even doubting, or you just know you're just like very confident yourself that like it's something that doesn't exist anymore? Because I feel like I'm still young enough to where like I still have doubts of things that I've had to have doubts over my entire life, even when I know how they play out, you know?
Yeah.
Like how, what would you
I
say?
mean, what I would say to that is like it's almost a mix of both at the same time. So I mean, I think there can be I think it is naive of us to think that there cannot be anything that shifts your life and experience of it foundationally. You know, it's like there you can go through an experience that'll just shake the foundations of everything you know to its core. And those are the experiences in life that are the most harrowing experiences people can go through. You know what I mean? Those are trials that are that shape people, and that you know, if you're able to utilize it in the correct way, you become even more confident. But if you're not, you know, it becomes, you know, it could really disrupt your life in a significant way. And you know, those are experiences that we have to be when something like that does happen, and it looks different for everybody. Nobody's life is the same. You know, those are experiences. It could be anything. It could be, you know, a death of a spouse. It could be, you know, a death of a child. It could be, you know, a relationship. It could be whatever. You know what I mean? It could be a lot of things. But when that happens to your life, um, and, you know, it can be multiple things. You know, just a really, you know, you have no idea. Life can be cruel, but it's within those moments where you truly have to look inside, and you have to like remind yourself of who you are, and you have to look, and you have to figure out where inside of you is the person that can find that confidence to be like, okay, I know things are not at all what I thought they were going to be, and I know I have to evaluate myself here, and I know I have to evaluate my life. You have to come to like some sort of fundamental ground with what you can do and what you've experienced before in order to use that as the next paradigm that you're going to have to adjust to as your life, yeah, as you hope to not live a life that is tormented by whatever you're going through. But that's huge. I mean, you know what I mean? That's something that's like, who am I as a person? Who am I? Who can I rely on as a being, as a self? Like, how do I rely on myself in order to move past that? And that's big. And I don't have answers for everybody's situations for that, but I think that's just like one of those things where, it's like, so I guess I'm kind of, to answer your question, it's like, are there certain doubts that like, you can, I don't know. It's I feel like it's like it was
like, do you think that as you get older, those doubts go away because you've had more experiences?
Yeah, well, so
or do you think they're always there? It's just you know what the outcome's going to be. Because I feel like I said, at my point right now, I feel like I'm still having those doubts, but like I know even when I know what the outcomes are gonna be, like, or at least I have like a pretty good idea. Do you think as you get older, like if you're like well into your 60s, like are those even doubts anymore, or are you just so experienced you're just like, I know, like I'm confident in myself, like I know like what I'm doing, you know?
So that's what I was kind of trying to kind of get at, is like, I don't know if there is. I think there's both. Like I was saying, it was like, I think there is both the answer of there are things about yourself that you're like, you might continually doubt, but then in the case of like a huge shift in your life, like I was explaining, there are things that I think you can find solace in order to be like reassured in yourself. You know what I mean? And and I think it depends. And I don't know if, I don't think it's unnatural to doubt the things that you have doubted before and continue doubting.
Right.
But I think and I think it's important to say here that even if it seemingly is on the surface the same doubt, it's not the same, because you've challenged it before and it's a different situation, and it may be to your your conscious mind right now that it looks like the same doubt, but you're constantly reevaluating it. It's constantly being evolved. That doubt is evolving as you are evolving, and it's not the same doubt as it was a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Even if it is coming out, it is evolving with you.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm just curious because, like, obviously, I mean, we're not gonna know until we get older, but like, I don't think like doubt, like, any of our doubts go away necessarily. It's kind of like what you said, is like just kind of progress into something different. But it's like, I would like to think, because there's certain people that you meet that are of older age, and they're you can see that they're just very confident in themselves, and like they really, like, they're very in tune with like how they feel about things and how they want to go about life. And like the way that I look at them is like they probably don't have an incredible amount of doubt in their life because they've already gone through all of that. Like they found their path of like through like their entire lifetime, that they're like, yeah, I went through all the doubts and like I know what the outcomes are. And it's like you said, obviously there's always going to be things that shake you to your core, and like those are the big ones that you can't predict. But like the ones that are reciprocating, like that are still happening in my head, that are just like, why am I always doubting this? Why am I always doubting this? Why am I always doubting this? Even when I know that it's like for the better or for the worst or whatever the thing is, like I know I've been through the experiences before. It's like I would like I'm curious of like what it would be like when you're older. Is like, are those even really doubts anymore, or are you just thinking about the things that have been? Is it more just like, oh, that has happened before, I know those experiences, and like I'm confident myself that I'm just not going to take those routes anymore of like not agreeing to certain things or disagreeing with things.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying a bit more. So I think that number one, first and foremost, we are all going to die continually doubting something. We're all going to be left with something on our mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we're not going to be able to have all of our goals accomplished, everything we wanted to read, everything we wanted to eat, everywhere we wanted to go, all the, relationships we wanted to fix and whatever. Like that's going to be that we're going to die with that on us. You know what I mean? And so even with experience, that is a non-negotiable. But I think as you gain more experience, as you look to people that have had more experience, it's not that they have a lack of doubt, because like you said, there's just always going to be doubt, but it's that you become more confident in your ability to deal with it. You know what I mean? And there are certain things that we're not going to figure out, and then it's just getting comfortable with that as well. It's like getting comfortable with with experience, to be more and more okay with. I don't know why this hasn't figured itself out yet, but I'm okay with it. You can learn to live with it a bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's fine, but like, don't let that weigh you down. You know what I mean? And those things can be big and small, and I think it depends on like how much you want to deal with certain things, how reflective you want to be on a certain aspect of your life. Because if it's a big thing, I don't want that to burden me for the rest of my life. But for some people it does, and I'm not saying like me personally. I'm like, don't have big things. Everyone has big things to deal with, and when I think about like the big things that I want to deal with, I want to do my best to address them in order to not let them control me. You know what I mean? But that's just like I think it comes just with the experience of learning to deal with doubt and learning to be comfortable with the things that will always that haven't figured themselves out. Not that they can never be figured out and they can never be reflected on. It's just that it's being comfortable with the process of continually letting it just be, and knowing and accepting that death will come and we're not going to have it all figured out.
Yeah, I think that's like the one thing. Like I hope for myself is like I just hope with age, as I get older, like I become more confident in the core of like the things that I choose to do, and like that in return of that is like less doubt in my life. But like you can also argue is like the way I'm thinking about it now is like I think it just brings different doubt in your life. Like when you're in your 20s, you doubt about different things. When you're in your 30s, you doubt about different things. When you're in your 40s, you doubt about different things. Like there's different things. Like because when there's certain doubts that you've had up until like now when I'm 26, like I'm sure that when I'm in my 30s, there's going to be those certain ones that I don't even think about anymore because I've like resolved it, or I've like already been through the experience, or whatever, or what have you, but doesn't mean when I'm 36 10 years from now I'm not going to have other doubts that I'm not thinking about right now because it's not something that I'm facing, so I would like to think as I get older, I like to think that I become more confident and more resolved in maybe some of the doubts that are more detrimental to my life, the ones that I'm like really like that are really putting pressure, the ones that I'm like I said, it's like where it's exhausting sometimes, it's like I hope, I like to think that as I get older and I go through more experiences and just just kind of go through the years, like I kind of learn more about myself in order to be not as doubtful in my life about things.
When you think of doubt, where do you think of it on terms of a time scale? Do you doubt things more in the future or more in the present?
Definitely well, I don't know, that's hard. I guess it just depends. Mm-hmm. I think on average, if we're thinking of just like generally, I would say probably like the like things that are happening right now, like not the future. I think that's one of my biggest flaws is like I don't see into the future that much, mm-hmm. which I know I need to, but I very much focus on the doubts that I have in my life, like right now, Mm-hmm. But then I like it's silly because then I can also argue that there's a lot of doubts that I have that are like I'm scared that like if I choose this career that like it's something that's gonna forever affect me when I'm retired, and I'm like stressing about that today, so it really just depends. But I would say that for me, I'm more focused on the doubts that I have day to day, like those are the ones that are like really overwhelming me because I think there's so much more of an like bombardment of them. It's just they're so frequent in my head day to day versus the ones that when you're like laying down at night and you're like oh, is this the job I want to be doing for the rest of my life? Like those are the hard hitting ones, but they're more in the dead of night versus like the every day to day. Like, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing this. Like, why are you not going to the gym? Like, I'm doubting not going to the gym now. You know, like, I think those are the things that I'm more wrapped up in. I'm more focused in.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's easy to get. I think it's so easy to get wrapped up in those things, and it's like just giving yourself the reassurance that you can figure it out, and yeah, I would say I think doubt ultimately comes down to our. I mean, I feel like it's like with so many things, it's like just our relationship towards it, our relationship with it, and letting it be, and letting it. I think that's just with everything. It's like, it's just.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it's another tool.
Yeah.
It's with regret, commitment, like all of these things. It's really how you utilize it, because these are things that happen to everybody. Doubt, that's a huge one. Everybody has doubts. How do you process those things? Yeah. How do you utilize those? Are you going to utilize those as tools, or are you going to utilize those as a self-destruction tool that's going to hurt you in your life?
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it becomes like it almost becomes like it's like this game. I don't really like the analogy of like games, but I feel like it's like I think it is like you said. I think it's a good way to put it. It's just a tool like everything else. If you don't utilize it correctly, then you could get into some trouble. But if you use it what it's for, like any tool, there's a purpose for it. I'm not gonna use a hammer to clean my windshield, but if I use a hammer to hit a nail, then it's gonna work, and you could utilize it the correct way. It will bring about the most benefit and the way it's supposed to be used. But that comes with training, because I don't know how to use all the tools in my life. I don't know how to use them all, and that's okay. But just letting it be and letting the process take over. Listen to the Beatles. Just let it be.
Let it be. Let it be.
Which is a good segue, John.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity.
Which is a good segue, as John knows, and as all my devout listeners know as well. My sweet, sweet listeners out there. This is the part of the podcast where we discuss our music recommendations. This has been a part of the podcast. I don't know if it was on the first episode, but it's continued. I mean, it's been on every single episode. So we continue the legacy. John, what is your music recommendation? And first off, did you listen to?
I was gonna say, we talked about our first Rex.
Well, the Rex we mentioned last week in the last episode.
You recommended me "Follow Me" by Ali S. I've heard the song. When I was playing it, I was like, "Oh, this sounds so familiar." Yes. Is it an older song?
It's an older. It's like from the '90s. Yes, it's from the '90s.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like I've heard it because my mom had it on at some point. Like, it's funny because I listened to it, I was like, "Oh, this it kind of reminded me of like younger days when I was a kid." Like, I don't know. I was like, "Oh, I've definitely heard this song before." Great song. It literally gave me nostalgia in a little bit. It's definitely not like something that was like popped up on my radar, but I definitely recognized it when I listened to it. So yeah, good song.
Okay.
It definitely it reminded me kind of being back when I was a kid. So yeah. I have heard that song before.
Kind of a throwback.
It is. It was. It's good. It's good. It's a good like old '90s club mix, which is like such a different vibe. It's cool. I like I said, immediately listening to it, I was like, wow, this is like what it was like back like when they were like my mom was out and like going dancing. Like this is the music they would play. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
And then you recommended me Dury, Who's Laughing Now.
Yeah,
it was like almost like it was like So when I listened to it, man, it's not fresh in my mind right now. I feel like I have to re-listen to it, but it was like it was a bit poppy. I don't know if I
really?
feel like maybe poppy isn't the right word, but it was like a bit it was energetic for sure.
I liked the Little Bit Lonely is the one that I like, because Who's Laughing Now is their most popular. That's why I recommend that one to you. But Little Bit Lonely, I like that one a little bit better. It is. I know what you mean by it.
It's not bad. So it's not bad. I thought it was just a bit it was a bit poppy with the, it was like, I love like pop punk, like it's kind of like that genre. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong because you've listened to more Dury, but it was a little bit on the poppy side for me, and I didn't think it was. I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. I think I like that. I like the genre, but I didn't really connect to it as much as like
Yeah.
the
No,
other artist within like sort of that kind of like heavier pop stuff. I don't know. How would you describe it as?
I know what you mean. No, it's more. It's like. Do you know Crumb?
Crumb.
Have you listened to Crumb?
Yeah, I know the name for sure. I don't know. I can't really recall though.
It has that like weird music video where it's a girl singer, and it has like the metal ball that rolls around the room, and like the perspective's all weird. Anyways, I'm sure if you heard the song you would know. I'm pretty sure that the band's called Crumb. I'm horrible. Like maybe. I don't know them that well. Anyways,
is it Crumb
they're kind of like the more.
Is it Crumb with a period? Is it like Crumb period?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
I know that then. Yeah, I know that.
Yes. Yeah, they're like I like them. Like it's good, but I know what you mean. Like it's more of like on the like bedroom pop, if that's what you would call it. It's hard to. I know what you mean.
I don't know if it's bedroom pop.
It's good because like it has like rock bits in it, but it's more like fun sing along type.
Yes. That's what it is. That's probably more fun sing along type. And I didn't think it was like. I don't think it was like bad. I just thought it was just a bit poppy, a bit like more.
I would agree. I would agree. Even for my recommendation for that one, it wasn't like a strong recommendation. I was like, I heard it and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Like I would listen to this again.
Okay. So our task last week though was to listen to a new song, and then listen to and find something this week that would past week that we could recommend. That we hadn't heard before on the music rec today. So what do you got?
Okay, so I feel like I'm like, maybe I don't know if there's anybody listening to this that's a hardcore fan of these people, but apparently they're really popular. Like they're kind of an older like 80s 90s. It's metal, so I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know if you're gonna like this.
It's good,
but I honestly loved it. I heard it. I was like, this is sick. It's metal. It's like early metal, but like electronic metal. So it's interesting. It has like electronic, like almost like electronic like like implements in it versus like with like screamo, but then like vocals in it too. It's interesting. But the guitar riffs and the like drums and everything, great. Anyways, the brand is called Enter Shikari. And it's called Sorry You're Not a Winner.
Sorry, you're not a winner. Well, after all this doubt, I appreciate that.
I know. It's actually This is my theme John. Song now. No, this is for me. I'm describing myself.
Sorry.
No, but it's kind of a long song actually. It's like I can't remember how long it is. I could probably look it up, but it's a longer song, but it's pretty good. It's interesting because it has like a mix of a lot of different things. It has like a lot of like really good like guitar riffs and like drum solos, and then it has like heavy like vocals, like scream vocals, and then it has like really like calm like good listening vocals, and then electronic on top of it. It's interesting. So, and this is just going to be a bonus one because it's very much like this, but there's also a band called Electronic Callboy. I've been into them for like a while now, like, and they're a new school metal, but they're electronic metal, so it has like that electronic music in it with like really heavy like metal rock band music. It's kind of cool. So
Electronic Rock Boy, that's the name?
No, Electronic Callboy. They used to be called Eskimo. They used to be called Eskimo Callboy, but they changed their name. So it's called Electronic Callboy. The songs that are really good is Tekkno Train. I really like Tekkno Train,
Okay.
and then Hypa Hypa.
Hypa Hypa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You'll.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna like them.
Okay.
You might like the first song I give you. I don't think you're gonna like Electronic Callboy because it's a little out there,
Okay.
but it's good. I think that the musical part of it, like the instruments, are insane, dude. They're so talented.
Okay.
But yeah, give them a shot.
Okay. No,
Give those guys a
I'll
shot.
definitely listen to them, and they'll be linked below. Where did you find them?
I think Sorry You're Not a Winner was on YouTube, like a YouTube short. I saw like on a YouTube short. Because I think what was the other band? There was some other band that I typed in and I was just like looking at the like related videos, and then like because of that it like referred to me for that one. But it was a song that was very like kind of similar.
Okay. Yeah, that's always good.
I think it was Tiny Moving Parts. I was listening to Tiny Moving Parts, and then it came up as like recommended, and I listened to that song. And I was like, oh, this one's sick too.
Okay.
It's not really anything like them, but it has rock related stuff.
Yeah.
So,
No,
anyways,
that's a good way to.
that's where I found them.
That's a great way. You just like look on your favorite artists, and then you just see like, well, who sounds like this? I guess I'll pick this one, and then you just go down that rabbit hole.
Those are such a hit and miss, dude. I go down that rabbit hole all the time, and I'm like, nah, it's just not the same. And then I'll listen to one. Sometimes I know.
No, I think.
I feel like the thing is that the part that's hard about it is I feel like Spotify does a really good job of like people that kind of sound or like fans also like or like sounds like, you know, and you go to those bands, but unfortunately when you go to the artist, it just shows their like top 5. And it's like, if you find the right song, there's like songs that sound very similar to the original artist that you're listening to, but you have to like do your like homework and like go through the songs. And it's like some of them you're just like, I don't really care for this, you know?
I completely agree with you. It's a big hit or miss when you go into the related artist on Spotify. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is sick. This is exactly what I'm looking for because it does. It's the same vibe. And then sometimes
it's doing the same thing.
Another one, you're like, this is not it. This is not the.
Yeah, you're like, this is like feels way different.
But I think with their like. I think that's like with everything else Spotify, like the Discover Weeklies, the different like playlists they have and stuff. Spotify has such a good algorithm to like help discover new music.
Yeah, it's true.
Which leads me to my.
All right, let's hear it.
Yes. So, this is man. Okay. So I've been writing for my college applications. I've been writing essays, and I for me I feel it's so important to be able to to listen to the music that puts me in the headspace in order to write about what I want how do I want my essay to feel. And so like when I'm writing about a certain topic, I want it to feel a certain way, and I really try to make myself be put into a headspace where I can effectively do that. And when I listen to music, it helps me so much to like put myself within that space, so I can write down and convey myself in the way that I want to. And so I've been writing about an experience to me, but it's very sad, and it's about death and all these kind of those related topics. It's really heavy. And so I've been listening to a ton of like Beach House. Beach House for me. This isn't my recommendation. This isn't my recommendation.
But
if you haven't listened to Beach House, just do yourself a favor and get your head out of your ass and listen to Beach House, because Beach House is one of
Beach House is a great when you're laying in bed before you go to bed. And you just put your headphones in, and it's like quiet out, and you listen to the sounds that they create in that
beautiful
band.
I don't know.
Next level, dude.
The Beach House is just that goes without saying. Be a Beach House fan, because Beach House is incredible. Literally,
they are
incredible.
Good.
But I've been listening to a lot of Beach House, and what came up, I believe, within the recommended, I just started clicking random recommended ones, was Tyler Burkhart. And I don't know if you've heard of him before, but
it sounds familiar.
or maybe it was like Beach House led me to like Beach House led me to Orchid Mantis, which led me to like Ruby Hunt, which led me to Tyler Burkhart or something. All great bands, but
how do you spell that? Oh, here it is. I got it.
Incredibly sad. Just like the saddest music.
First song, Dream of You, How Our Love Grows, Sad Airplane, Just How I Love You. Yes. Oh, God.
It's John. It's especially for you right now.
Oh, no, dude.
But, dude, okay. So sad, dude. So sad. But so good. He has a great voice. And I love the way, I love the tone. I think if I could describe him in one word, it's like just tone. Like he has such a tone. And
what would be the song that you recommend?
So, okay.
If there was like a certain song, because I'll listen to him.
Hobbies is so astute, and I know the situation.
It's funny.
I know the situation.
It's funny,
but please be careful with listen to the song when you wanna.
It's funny because our music recommendations today are so opposite, dude. Yes. Mine. Straight anger, straight like you listen to it, and you're like, I want to punch a hole in a wall.
And
I want to go outside and headbang until my head breaks.
This is
until my neck breaks.
This is okay. I'm going to just walk outside right now, lay in the middle of the street, and like look up at the stars, and then cry. That's what that's what this.
Oh God!
But very good. I don't know if it's I'm not like I haven't gotten like super into him or anything. But I've heard a handful of songs from him, and what I've heard is very excellent and incredibly sad. So be careful with that.
Okay.
but
thank you for the warning.
But very good. Very moving. I would recommend you, John, listen to Hobbies, but be careful. I said listen to it in a headspace where you might God, you're
gonna give me one that I'm gonna cry, and I just gave you one where you're gonna be like, what the fuck am I listening to?
I believe.
I don't know if you're gonna like. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's rough. It's rough, John.
Yeah.
But excellent.
I mean. To be fair, that's like how I am with Joji. Like I listen to Joji and I'm like, time to be in my feels. Yeah. And it's like all of his songs on his new album are just they're just rough to get through, but they're so beautiful that I'm like, I don't care. I love it. This music is so good.
Oh yeah. So listen to Hobbies, and then if you like Hobbies, which I think you will, it's just again you like for what it evokes, but listen to Just How I Love You, which is another great song. That's his most popular one.
Yeah, that's the one that first came up.
But listen to Hobbies and then listen to Just How I Love You and let me know what you think of them.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess this week I'm going to be sad.
John, you're never going to escape your sad boy hours. You already know.
I know. Well, yeah, I know. They've been back.
I'm sorry to do it to you.
Oh.
I'm sorry to do it to you.
It wasn't you, Evan. We know that.
But I guess I'll be angry this week, so you'll be sad.
Yeah, you're going to be. It's funny, dude. Like, what have you been listening to recently? Like what's been your genre? Have you been just listening to like a bunch of
sad Beach House? I've been listening to a ton of Beach House and a ton of Black Marble.
I guess it makes sense because you've been like writing a lot.
A lot. So Beach House.
I've been listening so much. I go between. It's weird, dude. I've been going between like very back country, like very very like traditional country to like hardcore screamo, dude. Like a hardcore like full double pedal like heavy guitar riff metal music.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is nice. This is nice. Great.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it depends though. I mean, like, so when you're at the gym, do you okay? So I know like this is a weird factor.
Oh, my gym's a different thing. Yeah. Gym is different than what I listen to in my car.
Yes.
Like car time is like more smooth. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's different, but I have to put on certain songs in the gym, or I will just not be in the mood at all.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I completely understand that, and that's very valid. But I know this. I think you know this about me, and it's a fun fact about me. I love listening to like sad music in the gym, like slow, sad music. Which is like, and like, I don't know why. It just puts me in a different headspace. But at the same time, I do listen. I definitely fluctuate between that and then, like heavy punk and just sad Law Dispute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it
yeah, I
depends.
fluctuate, dude. I don't. It's not necessarily. I do. I feel like there are some sad. It has to be like angry sad though. Like I do well with angry songs in the gym, angry sad songs. Yeah. But if they're just like straight up like slow sad music, it will put me straight out of the mood. I'm just like, I don't want to do anything.
Oh man, I was listening to like Bon Iver this week at the gym.
Oh god, dude, I don't know how you. I have a hard time listening to that too when I'm home, let alone the gym.
It's good fall music for sure. So with that, we know that John is an angry man, and he's an angry boy.
I want to punch walls.
All right, John. Well, thanks for being on for another episode. The fans love it. They're going wild, dude. They're absolutely going insane for you.
I can hear them clapping and cheering for me right now.
You can hear it before it's even put out.
I can hear it all the way over in the hemisphere. People cheering for me right now.
All right. Well, thanks for being on. I love ya.
You got it.
See you next time.
Love ya. See ya later.